Welcome back to the Gloves Up podcast presented by Kansas City Golden Gloves. I'm your host for the time being, Cam F. Awesome, and we've got Eric Priest in the house.
What's up?
It's good, man. How have you been?
I've been well. Working hard, training. Just trying to grow in these pro ranks. So out in Vegas right now, training under Ismael Salas out here, and so learning a lot, just getting better. I'm going to fight March 16th, so it's coming up here pretty quick.
Sweet. How many fights do you have now?
I'm 12-0 as a pro right now. So
12-0 as a pro. You started in the amateurs here in Kansas City. We boxed together back in the day.
I did, yeah.
Yeah, and you moved on from the amateurs into the pro ranks, but let's talk a little bit about your amateur career. When did you start boxing?
I was actually a wrestler and a kickboxer before I was a boxer. I was doing a lot of grappling as well as jiu-jitsu. I would say I got into that at a pretty young age, probably around like 9 or 10. And then probably when I was like 13 or 14 years old, my dad drove me down to Turner, and that's where, I started boxing at Turner from like 13 or 14 years old. Then when I was 14, I had my first amateur fight.
Cool. And so did you just not take to kickboxing or to wrestling? Why boxing and why not go that hard in the other arts?
I was pretty intense in like jiu-jitsu and a lot of that and like wrestling, but like those are seasonal sports. Like wrestling is at least. And so in the other time I would just, I like boxing, like high school sports, and a lot of that stuff didn't really interest me much. I wasn't really interested in throwing a ball on a hoop or something.
Ball wasn't life.
Yeah, it's not life. But and as far as kickboxing goes, like I just hate getting kicked, honestly. It just sucks, like,
yeah,
I don't know. Plus, like it's not as entertaining, I think, as boxing, more popular, mainstream wise. So yeah, I liked it more.
Definitely not as popular, not as mainstream. In 2012, when I was suspended for that year, I wanted to stay active, and there was a guy, Consta, maybe he was a heavyweight kickboxer who would come down to Turner to spar, and he was the number one heavyweight in the country, and I did pretty well sparring him. So I was like, you know what? During my year off, I should spend some time kickboxing. And I went to a kickboxing match, and I saw someone get kicked to sleep. And I was like, I think I'm going to just sit down my whole suspension and wait. That's some ideology. I mean, that Muay Thai stuff and even kickboxing, it's pretty brutal. You know what I mean? And for what it's worth, I don't know if it's worth it, So next question. Do you foresee yourself transitioning from boxing to MMA?
No, not, I'm kind of at like, one step at a time. I guess I think I could. I would obviously need to take some years. I got a lot of respect for MMA fighters. They take years and years out of life, like learning these different arts and skills to master, and then getting in the cage, whatnot. But right now I'm just focused on boxing. Like that's not really a thing that I think about, I guess.
Okay. Yeah. Stay focused. Sure. So with Fight Time, whether it's amateurs or pros, do you have a pre-fight ritual?
I think I would say I do. I'm not one of those guys that feels the need to like wear the same socks or something every single time I fight, or you know what I mean? Like spin around 3 times or else I'm going to lose. It's like, I'm not like that, but just more around like the people that I'm around every single time, from like my dad, my coaches, to the manager, the songs that I listen to, I listen to the same songs in training that I do in the fight night. It does something to my brain. It kind of triggers my brain into like realizing, it's like time to box. So it's kind of like you practice the way you play, that type of stuff. Each fight's kind of different, to be honest with you. Unlike the amateurs where it was like you might end up fighting 4 times in 1 week, you know what I mean? You got to get used to the process of it. It's like, I don't know, like the pros is kind of like every time you fight is different because every opponent, it's like you've been preparing for 8 to 10 weeks basically for one guy. And those days are like markers, you know, they're only like 4 of them a year pretty much. So it's like, they're kind of bigger events, I think, for like me. And like I said, I think there's every single one's pretty different. You kind of just take it how it is. Sometimes it can be like more stressful than others, but yeah, that's
okay. Stress with the stress. How do you deal with the stress as a fighter? So a lot of the younger fighters who are a part of the Golden Gloves, we'd be watching this, and as one of the premier fighters, pro fighters to come out of Kansas City right now. I'm sure they can take a lot of advice from you that I can't give them because I've never been in the pro game. So how do you deal with stress before a fight?
Well, I mean, I feel like it's one of those things that you accumulate over the years. Like, you know, like everybody before their first amateur fight or something is pretty nervous. You know what I mean? You're like, oh, like some guy's been trained to strip me of my health, you know, and just like, I don't get my ass kicked in front of people. And obviously those thoughts still go through your head and whatnot. But like, as you do it more, I mean, I'm sure by the time like you got to your, I don't know, you had like 300 amateur fights, didn't you?
Close to 400.
Yeah. Like, I mean, dude, like, yeah, at a certain point, it's like,
it becomes casual.
Yeah. I mean, you've done like the hard sparring. You've like, like sparring, if you go from like, I think the confidence that gets rid of your nervousness comes from punishing yourself in the gym. Like there's no easy way to create confidence. And that's like, honestly, by just doing hard things. That's doing things that make you uncomfortable. Like, sparring, like, hey, like you're going to do hard sparrings that are going to make you nervous, that are going to like make you bring out a different level of yourself, and kind of push yourself a little bit, like push your boundaries. And that's where that confidence is acquired. If I think I'd be more nervous if I was going into a fight and I was unprepared and I didn't do the hard sparrings and I didn't do all like the things that I needed to do to prepare myself for that moment. But there's different types of like breathing techniques you can do. I meditate a lot. I think that helps me in boxing and in my personal life outside of boxing. Helps you, like the mind's a crazy tool and it can be your best friend or your worst enemy. So being able to control that's kind of like a superpower.
Yeah, I agree. You bring up a good point about sparring. So Jeremiah Graziano, do you remember, were you around for him?
That was like probably a year and a half before I started at Turner.
Okay. Well, he was a murderer. Like he went hard in the gym every single day. And that's who I had to spar all the time. And I would go into fight. Like I was relieved when I would have to fight. Like I would leave for a trip because it meant I would get to go fight and I don't have to spar Jeremiah every day. And I would be happy to fight because I'm like, oh, this dude isn't Jeremiah. And I realized the harder sparring you have and the more prepared you are for your fight, the more confident you will be. And I walk into like you see me walk into the ring, I know I'm going to win. But when I don't really train and I don't show up at 100%, you don't walk in. You mean you can fake that confidence, but you know in your soul you're not as prepared. So yeah, the confidence comes from making yourself do hard things.
Exactly. And like that's kind of like the right part of the reason I decided to make the transition from Los Angeles to Las Vegas for my training camp is because training under Ismael Salas, like you got like sparring with guys like Lara, Brian Mendoza, sparring with Tim Zhu, like a lot of these like top caliber guys, like in the pro ranks, like belt holders and whatnot. Then I go into my fights and I'm like, okay, like the level of expertise that I've sparred like with like Lara is just a whole different level to a person that I'm going to be fighting right now, because it's not worth it for a guy like Lara to fight me right now, but I'm growing my career as fast as I can. So it's like when I get in there with my opposition, the guy who's like, this guy that I'm fighting next, he's 21-3, but like, I know what I've done. I know my ability. I know that I can hang out there with like guys like Lara and these guys. So like, all right, like, I'm ready for it.
How many rounds?
10 rounds.
10. Oh, is this your first 10 rounder?
It'll be my first 10 rounder. Yeah. I'm officially ranked by the WBC now.
Congrats, King.
Thanks, man. So I'm trying to lock in at least like a WBC silver belt, and hopefully work my way up to a world title maybe next year. That'd be ideal.
Where's your ranking?
29.
Oh, nice. You're in the top 50.
Yeah.
And top 30.
Yeah. So we're climbing up there.
Yeah. Do you have a ring name?
A lot of people have been calling me the Joker lately. Just I don't know, just because like I don't really know how to. You never really see me like crazy mad or anytime. I'm always just like sarcastic about everything.
Yeah.
So I kind of just if like something hurts, I'm like, oh God, I broke my arm, but.
Where do you think the secret to your magic is? Because you found a lot of success in the amateurs and then found success in the pros, and you're working with some big name guys. What do you think the secret is to your success? Because I see a lot of people who haven't done what you've done.
I think it's my ability to take shit or like
say it, like, speak it.
Yeah. No, seriously. I think it's like, your ability to like do what you don't want to do, but do it like you love it. I think it's less about like sometimes there's really talented guys out there. You know what I mean? I think I'm talented. But once you mix talent with like, your ability to like just go through things every single day, like how much you're willing to withstand. Like success is based more on like what you're willing to be able to take. How much are you willing to put yourself through without instant gratification, without seeing the instant result, without some days you may not even see the vision for yourself. You know what I mean? But like if you can kind of just believe in yourself and be like nothing's going my way, but one of these days something's going to happen. And just stay consistent with that.
Would you call that delusion? Because I'm a big fan of being delusional, like because you don't know what you can accomplish until you try. And I feel like a lot of people don't try things because they're not sure if they can accomplish it. And what I saw you do, man, you left the amateurs, you went to the pros, you moved to LA, now you're in Vegas. Like, who knew you were going to be here? You had to be delusional to think you were going to be here because, of course, you haven't done it before. Do you think delusion is a part of the deal?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I mean, like I get told like I'm nuts all the time, and that's okay. You know what I mean? Like not everybody's is supposed to understand what's going through your head, and if everybody did, then everybody would be successful as well. You know what I mean? Like, I think being good at something is really, it's really not that hard these days. Cause most people, they try something and it doesn't go their way and they quit immediately, So like, when you're surrounded by people like that in this kind of day and age in sports and business and a lot of other things, it kind of shortens the pool a little bit for, being good at something or making it in something. So, I would say it's delusion. You got to believe in yourself before anybody else does. If you don't see something for yourself, then nobody else will.
If you're not willing to bet on yourself, why would anybody else bet on you? Exactly.
Like if you're going to ask people to invest in your life, then like you got to be able to will and invest in yourself. Like you owe it to yourself as a commitment to, make the most of your time here, I think, and in whatever you want to do. I think I was definitely delusional from like, hey, I'm going to like leave Kansas City and go pro. And that was definitely a harder moment for me because nobody's ever really done that. I didn't have a blueprint or so to follow when it came to that.
You really are the blueprint.
Yeah, I'm trying to create that. I'm trying to like create to be a little bit of a trailblazer to a certain extent for other pros that want to come out of Kansas City. But like, I didn't really have anybody to follow. And so I kind of went silent for like maybe 6 months to a year, just trying to create the connections, get in the gyms. And I basically kind of worked my way up from just like, I'd go into the gym and I would just spar everybody. Every single pro that they had at like wild card under Freddie Roach. I would just go in there and spar. And then eventually a manager came in and noticed me. I was like, hey, I want to work with you. And then, Justin Fortune and Freddie and those guys kind of gave me my shot. But I basically went through like 6 months of just like fighting everybody in the gym, just being a sparring partner for Gabe Rosado and a lot of these pros. So
I love that. I love that you took the risk. I love you took the chance and you went for it. Like there's a lot of people who talk about they finna do it, they about to do it, they gonna do it, but you're doing it. Super proud of you.
Man, I appreciate it a lot, dude. Thank you so much. I still remember when you gave a motivational speech when I was in high school. You were early in your career as well, and it was probably like seven years ago or something. Now,
Yeah, that's when I just started.
Yeah, and like afterwards, you're like, all right, we're just gonna get better at this, and so it's the same kind of thing, man. It's like,
that's funny that you bring that up. Tell the people which high school you went to.
I went to Olathe East and Olathe Northwest.
Okay, which was it? Olathe East I spoke at when you were
Northwest.
there. It was Northwest. That was one of my first talks, and one of the teachers in there had. I said something that might have rubbed an educator the wrong way, where I was just talking about goals you set, and I was like,
I can't remember exactly what you said. I remember it was we're all just like,
you got to try things out, okay? And I said, cookie cutters. I said there's some jobs there are cookie cutter jobs where everything you need to do is already built in for you. So like if you want to be a teacher, a doctor, there's prerequisites. There's things you need to do to be able to become that thing. You have two options. You can be a cookie cutter where everything is kind of laid out for you, or what you're doing right now, Eric, is you're just cookie dough and you're responsible for molding yourself. And that takes personal accountability. And that didn't go over as well. It went over well in my head, but what I basically said is teachers are cookie cutter jobs. And of course and my job as a speaker is to communicate, but a teacher had tweeted at me while on stage and was like, something, my speech wasn't good or whatever, # not a cookie. And students from your school, like they rode for me, bro. They started tweeting back at this teacher and roasting her. And I felt terrible.
No, and like it's true, you know. It wasn't what you said. It was about how you said it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it was like your message was clear. You know, like somebody like me, I understood that perfectly. I was like, like you're right. Like that's what I'm gonna do with my life. You know, like I'm not gonna follow the status quo. I'm not gonna join the rat race. I'm not. I'm gonna create this thing, and I'm gonna like just kind of keep a tunnel vision and not let other things go on distract me. And but it's a lot harder than people perceive. Doing something like that is just actually molding yourself, having the self accountability, having the self discipline to go and do something, to avoid outside noise. I went to college for a year, and it was truthfully, it was like, am I gonna like stay in school, join a fraternity or something, live up these next 4 years? I saw something like that, or am I just gonna be like, you know what, screw it. Like I got one life to live. I'm going to go try to make something happen in boxing with myself. Like, do I believe in myself enough? And you have obviously outside noise and people telling you, hey man, you're crazy, you're stupid. Like literally I lost all of my best friends for a period of time. I lost everybody in my life. Nobody talked to me, and made something happen, molded myself into something.
And I'm sure they didn't, when people told you not to go for it, they weren't doing it because they didn't necessarily believe in you. It's that they don't believe in themselves that they could be able to do it. And they're trying to keep you safe. Exactly.
It's out of love, but it's a projection for sure. It's just it's a reflection of like, a lot of it's like, they don't know. They don't know, they don't know for themselves. They don't know what's outside of whatever they're doing or whatever they've been cultured and taught their entire life. So it's just different. And people are not going to understand you. Not understanding you kind of creates conflict sometimes. But understand, it's like, not everybody has to understand you. If you want to be an anomaly, act like one.
Oh, love that. That's a bar.
So
yeah. If you want to be an anomaly, act like one. I like that. And the whole idea of like not being the rat race and kind of making your own path, being a trailblazer, it involves taking risks, and you need some type of vision to be able to do that. You don't exactly need to know where you're going. I like to think about goals as a lighthouse, and you're a ship in the ocean. You don't need to see the lighthouse. You just need to know which direction it is, and you just move in that direction. And as you get closer to the lighthouse, you'll start to see some details on it. You might see colors and windows, and the lighthouse is not going to look exactly, or your goal is not going to look exactly the way you thought it would when you first started, but you need a vision. So on the idea of speaking of visions, what do you see your vision looking like for the rest of your career and post-career?
My vision, I like to create 3 to 5 year goals for myself. 5 years ago, I was, wasn't in pro yet. So like I'm coming up on those goals right now, but for the next 5 years, I want to get a world title. I told myself for a long time, that's what I'm going to do. I'm on track right now. After getting ranked in the WBC and, I'm fighting tough opposition, trying to grow my career like that. And, being with Golden Boy. And, so with the world title, that's my next stop right now. I want to get involved in like a lot of other things, as far as like mental health awareness type of things. I want to get involved in organizations. I want to grow my career inside and out, as a boxer first. Cause like nothing happens unless I make that happen. So that I'll say like the next 3 years are more focused on exactly boxing. I don't know. I think I'm more concerned about the type of person that I want to become than necessarily my career outside of boxing yet. I think a lot of that stuff works hand in hand with each other. So I can just focus on being a better person, maximizing everything I can, opening every single door as possible. Then my scope and my vision will be more broad, and I'll have a better idea of exactly what I want to pinpoint on. So I think in the next 3 years, obtaining a world title and that type of stuff will,
everything else will fall into place.
Yeah, exactly. So one thing at a time, and that's my goal. But I told myself a long time ago, I'm just gonna ride this thing to the top. I don't really care if I crash and burn on the way.
Yes.
So that's what I'm gonna do.
I'm a fan of that. I'm a fan of, like, bro, you're living your passion. You're doing what you said you were gonna do, and I respect that so much.
Thank you, man.
Now, some random questions that has probably a little to do with the boxing. Actually, we'll start with a random boxing question. What's your favorite boxing movie?
Cinderella Man.
Cinderella Man. Okay.
Yeah. Sweet. It's have you seen it? It's like it's during like the Great Depression. It's like he's acting in it. The dude from Gladiator. Russell Crowe. He's playing James Braddock.
Oh, okay.
Fighting the Great Depression. Yeah.
I haven't seen that one. I haven't watched a lot of boxing movies. Because Michael B. Jordan was Hattie Braverman's boyfriend on Parenthood. Big Creed fan just because I like Michael B. Jordan. I don't necessarily subscribe to the Rocky movies because they make it seem like the harder and more you get punched, the stronger you become.
Yeah, that's not true.
Yeah, brain damage is true.
You might walk away with a slur at that point.
Rocky had a slur.
Yeah, I mean, he was born with it.
And everyone just thought if you were a boxer, you had to have some type of mental disability because we can't say other words. That's women's like, yeah, Rocky, you just get punched a bunch and get strong. I'm like, no, that's how brain damage happens. I'm big on defense.
Yeah, me too. Nobody likes getting hit, honestly.
You would
take those shots in the pros like with a little 10-ounce horsehair glove. It's lights out, bro. But you're done. Like
when I see those Mexican warriors that like they take pride in like standing in the middle of the ring and like slugging it out and like they're like that's what men do. I was like, I'm not that type of man. Yeah, I'm not built for that stuff.
Oh shit.
So, what is a movie that most people haven't heard about that you love? I'll give you a second to think, and I'll give you my random answer. Walk Hard, the Dewey Cox story. It's John C. Reilly. He was the other guy from Talladega Nights or Step Brothers. He had a movie. It was a play off of Walking the Line. It was the Johnny Cash movie. Great comedy, bro. One of the greatest comedies ever, and it's not really spoken about. And this year, I'm trying to find more movies that are popular that aren't popular that are great.
Oh shoot!
So, which movie?
Warrior with Tom Hardy's pretty good.
Warrior with Tom Hardy?
Yeah, it's a good one. Harold and Kumar, Escape from White Castle.
Yeah, one or two.
Solid one.
Guantanamo Bay was
I
too.
also like the Guantanamo Bay one. Those guys,
Yeah.
pretty funny.
Yeah, those are some good ones. And what does a normal training day look like for you?
Okay. Well, right now, in the morning, usually like some physical therapy. I work with like some people on Zoom on that, and then I'm usually in the gym.
Wait, you do physical therapy on Zoom?
Yeah, I mean, well, like I when I'm in Kansas City, I work with them like in person. You know, they give me the exercises, so they kind of walk me through it, talk to me about things that are hurting. So I already know what to do, but it kind of
Who do you work with? Shout them out.
Adapt PT. Physical therapy in Kansas City. They are top of the line. They work out of the top speed performance facility. Sweet. Out there. They are just fantastic. I had like sciatic problems, hand problems, any kind of thing that I've been going through that they helped me out with, and I've been feeling way better for them. So
a lot of wear and tear on your body doing this full time. So after your definitely. PT, what do you hit next?
Usually, eat. Try to fuel the body, and then I'm back in training probably around. I usually spar around 11 o'clock on sparring days, and if I'm not sparring, then I'm in the gym at least by 11:30. So from there, I'm in the gym until about like 2:30. Go home.
You're in the gym for like 3 hours.
Yeah, pretty much. And then after that, go home, relax a little bit, and I work with Tony Brady at night for strength and conditioning. Every single day. He works with Caleb Plant, Mario Barrios, Rolly Romero. So I'm in the gym. I'm in the conditioning with all those guys at night, usually around like 6:30 or so, and it's really difficult. And then you just go home, sleep. At that point, you're pretty much exhausted, especially when you start dieting and doing a lot of that kind of stuff, and then sleep, wake up, do it again, and that's usually the trajectory for about 9 to 10 weeks straight before a fight.
And you're in training camp right now?
I am. Yeah. I fight next weekend.
Sweet.
Yeah, at the Cosmo in Las Vegas. So
what's your weight like? Do you have to suck down a lot of weight? Is making weight easy for you? And do you have any tips on how to go about making weight for these younger fighters?
Making weight isn't necessarily easier. It isn't necessarily easy. I mean, it kind of sucks at any extent, I think. But I don't know. Everybody's body is different when it comes to cutting weight. Try to get as close as to the weight as you can before you start cutting out water or any of that kind of stuff. That's my biggest thing, especially in the amateurs. If you're fighting back-to-back days, like you need that fuel. Like I would leave like the second day of an amateur fight or amateur tournament or something like that. And like as soon as the fight's over, I'm like, don't give me water. Like I mean, I gotta make weight again in the morning, and that sucks. Yeah, like cutting weight sucks. Everybody hates it. Complaining about it does not make it better. It's just like, it's one of those things you got to do, I think cutting weight that's a discipline. I heard my dad told me a long time ago, hey man, if you can discipline what you eat, you can discipline anything in your life. So I kind of believe that.
Yeah, that's sure. That's some wise words, because I know a lot of guys who great fighters, but they struggle when it comes to making weight. And in what weight you were? 52 in the amateurs, or 65?
I started at like they changed them now.
Yeah,
I was 32, 41, 52, 65, and then I fought 78 a few times. But as a pro, I'm fighting 60.
60, and you make that pretty easily.
Yeah, I'm working with a nutritionist now, just to handle, because I'm fighting longer rounds and everything. I need more fuel. So, so that's making it easier on my body for sure. But
okay, sweet. Well, thank you for taking the time. I know you're in training camp and you've got a lot of things going on. We at the Kansas City Golden Gloves, we're super proud of you. We love to see that you came out of the Kansas City Golden Gloves and everything that you're doing in your pro career. Congratulations for being ranked, and kill it next weekend at your fight, brother.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it a lot. Yeah, be sure to tune in, man. Live on DAZN, March 16th. So
we're gonna blast that out. I'm gonna be watching.
Hell yeah. Appreciate it, man. Thank you for having me, man.
Thank you, man. Take care. That was Eric Priest. He used to fight in the amateurs with me, and he was like intense. And I believe he's half Filipino too, but Manny Pacquiao, one of the things I loved about Manny Pacquiao was his level of intensity all of the time. And that's what Eric reminded me of in the gym, because he was always like super intense. And I didn't hear from him for a little bit, because he did say he went underground. And I popped up in the Fortune gym in LA once, and he was there, and it was cool to see him and reconnect and see, like, he went from being this, 14, 15-year-old kid in the gym to being like this man who's killing it in the pros. And this is just one story of one boxer who was able to come through the Kansas City Golden Gloves program and achieve great things. And not all of our boxers who are achieving great things are doing it through boxing. I came through the Kansas City Golden Gloves, and I'm pursuing speaking. We have different boxers. We don't call them fighters, we call them boxers. We have different boxers who are doing all these different things. And what Eric said was beautiful. He says, the more difficult things you do in life, the easier everything else becomes. And if you can train and discipline yourself to wake up and run for 3 miles before you start your day, when you are retired from boxing, you move on to something else. Just kind of waking up in the morning to get ready for work becomes so much easier, because you're not doing all of the hard things that you used to do. And it gives you perspective of what it is and what it means to do difficult things. So I'm a big fan of the Kansas City Golden Gloves and just boxing in general, because it allows you to understand what it is to do hard things. Thanks for tuning in to the Gloves Up podcast, presented by the Kansas City Golden Gloves. I'm pretty new at this. Give me grace. Like, subscribe, share, and comment, and let us know what other Kansas City boxers you would love to hear from on this podcast. Thanks, guys. Stay awesome.